What's happening, Nootch?
Well, we made it to the bye week.
Yeah, bye week. Me and Nooch taking the weekend off. We got this little setup here on this beach here. And what is this, Toledo Bend?
Yeah, yeah, it's Toledo Bend.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I left from Texas and went across. That's how
Yeah,
I,
I'm in the Louisiana. I'm on the Louisiana side too. Don't worry.
yeah. So if you see over there to Nooch's left, that's my kayak. And if you look next to that, that's Nooch's pirogue. I like it.
Yep, got a few fishing poles on the ground next to it.
Mm-hmm. I see him. I hate that you put my fishing poles on the sand, but damn. Some good fishing here at Toledo Bend. Who's this knucklehead?
Yeah, very.
Oops.
Uh,
Get that kid out of here. Ugh.
that would be my moronic son and his pet alligator.
Get out of here, Calvin.
Yeah, he drove around with that sitting on the passenger seat of his truck for like a full day.
Hmm.
Loose, no like tape.
No
Mouth
leash
wasn't
or
taped,
nothing.
wasn't
Yeah,
tied
just
down.
nice.
Nothing. I have pictures of like him taking selfies out the window of him
I
with an alligator just chilling in the passenger seat with him. So,
got some stuff
but
on
you
the
notice,
Blackstone over here.
yeah, man,
Got a little
yeah, we
Bluetooth
got a little,
speaker.
yeah, got Merle Haggard playing on the Bluetooth right
Yes,
now.
sir. Yes, sir. And look what we
We we
got all
we,
around us.
we got a
Hey,
few
Nooch.
empties.
Yeah, show them what you got in your hand, though, for real. For real, real. Oh, Nooch
Look at
has a
that.
little shout out to give, and it's gonna hurt him, but he's got a little shout out.
Yeah,
Go ahead, buddy.
yeah, this one it stings, but Low T came through, and he shipped me 12 Abita Ambers. How he can
Nice.
get them in Oklahoma and I can't in Texas, I don't know. But he
Unbelievable.
pulled it off and he shipped them to me. And the good thing is, six of those is out of the kindness of his heart. Six he owed me from baseball season. I bet he lost because he's always wrong about baseball. But
This is
he shipped
true.
12 instead of the six he owed me.
This is
So shout out, shout out Low T. Thank you, sir.
Man, I think you ought to call him by his real name since he sent you
All
some
right.
amber.
Big T stepped up for me. So for 1 week I will lay off and be nice to him.
Yeah, we
But
got a
just
bunch
for the
of
bye week
empties.
though.
Got a bunch of empties down there. Other than that, the set is the same. We brought that with us out here. Got the American flag going on the Blackstone.
Yeah.
Got some hot dogs
Yeah.
and some burgers. Got the pirogues. Got some. Whoa, talk about the empties.
Yeah.
We got a couple of little containers full of beer next to us. So we're living in
Well, of course.
we in high cotton over here, man. All right,
Oh
so
yeah, paradise.
let's talk about the game, and then we'll get to some other
Yeah.
stuff because it's a bye week, so we can kind of chill.
Yes.
The
Correct.
game, South Alabama. Is that who we? Yeah, South Alabama.
Yeah. South
Again, I'm
Alabama.
disrespecting them, but I'm sorry. I get them and UAB mixed up. My bad. South Alabama, though, yeah, they
Yeah.
came in and they were, I even said, man, they could throw some points up on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, LSU pretty much shut them down.
Oh, absolutely. That's the best defensive performance I've seen from us. Most complete defensive performance I've seen from us in a while. We did have a couple of breakdowns, but
Yeah.
hell, we were flying to the ball. We were aggressive. We looked smarter than we have in games past. So yeah, some people are going to point to the level of competition, but I don't know. I didn't see us just vacating areas before guys ran to it, which is a plus.
Remember last year, we ran into that a lot, and people would say, well, look at the competition. But because we started off with some fairly tough games and we looked terrible defensively, and then there was a
Yes.
couple of games where we looked better. I said, oh, but we were playing nobodies. I'm like, yeah, but I never saw, somebody running around like following the referee when the receiver's going down the sideline or whatever. We saw that at times last
Right.
year. I haven't seen that at all this year. I haven't seen any. I haven't. I told Nooch today we were on the phone. I said, "Man, I've not seen Sage Ryan run around like this, all year." And that was a common occurrence
Yeah.
last year.
That's a Yeah, absolutely. We filled gaps. I like the pressure that we put, and part of that I'm sure is that I don't know much about South Alabama, but I'm gonna assume they don't have an SEC level offensive line. But I mean, we stayed in that kid's grill all night long.
Yeah. Yeah, LSU defensively was good. That quarterback he had some escapability. But
Yeah, he was good, and it wasn't perfect. We had a few breakdowns,
it
but
didn't really
it
hurt
wasn't
us.
the correct.
And that's where I think the fact that it didn't hurt us is where I think the level of competition comes into play. They didn't make us pay for
Yeah,
our mistakes
definitely
like somebody would, you know.
correct.
All right, let's see. Ooh. All right, I'm looking at something. Let's start with the offense. And I'm
Yeah, I mean,
going
offense started
to,
off hot.
yeah. I- let's go ahead and start with that. I was going to bring up some quarterback, but let's go ahead and start with that because that's how the game started. Go ahead.
Yeah, Caden Durham's fast.
Yeah, I told you he
The
was.
boys, um, and if Kyron Lacy could block at all downfield, he would have scored on his
He
first
was
two
running
touches.
around
Long,
like this,
I,
and then he's like, I'm like, dude, just hit one of them. Hit one of them.
I mean, if Brandon LaFell was still in uniform, he scores
Oh,
because
yeah, but Brent, I don't know. They
LaFell
would have
wouldn't
called
win.
him
Yeah,
back because LaFell would have been called for targeting.
true. Okay, well let's go with Terrence Tolliver instead. Another
Okay.
great downfield blocker. Those types of guys who didn't just block well, they also knew who to block well. Whereas as Kyron Lacy spent more time watching Durham run, which
He did. He
I don't
did.
know,
He
I
was
don't blame him.
he
It
was
was fun.
serpentining down the field, and I'm like, just hit one of them, dude, because either one you hit,
Uh,
he's gonna go to where that guy used to be. But yeah,
right, exactly.
what was it 79, 86? I don't remember. It was a pass
It
play.
was
Yeah, a little screen pass.
yeah, the pass play was ended up being 70. No, the pass play was 71. That was the first one.
71
It was a
yards.
71 yarder.
That's
Yes.
first play of scrimmage for the game.
Yes,
And then
correct.
is that right? No, he did
Yes.
score
It was
on
a
that
very
one, didn't he?
yeah, he scored on
He
that one.
scored on that one.
The the
It's the
one he
next one
didn't
where
score on,
it's the next one where Lacey was doing this. LSU's
correct.
second play from scrimmage was a handoff to Caden Durham, and he took that 86 yards to the one. I believe it was 86 yards
In, inside the one. Took it to
inside the
about this.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they reviewed it. He almost scored. So yeah, the first two plays, he's sitting around 160 total yards in two plays. Unreal.
Yeah,
I actually
exactly.
thought the play call
I
after that big run was brilliant because they took so long reviewing. He had caught his breath and everything. And I'm like, and I was sitting there thinking they need to give him the ball. He earned it, let him go score this touchdown. And sure
right.
enough, they trot him back out there because it's been a good 3 or 4 minutes since the run ended because they did the review. And don't you know, Garrett Nussmeier just kept it and he bush pushed him into the end zone. Caden Durham Bush
Yes,
him into the end
absolutely.
zone. Brilliant play call because
Do we have to use that term for this?
everybody thought Durham was getting the ball.
I sure did. I thought for sure he would. Or I thought either him or I was thinking play action. I really did not expect a keeper up the middle.
Play action. Yeah, that would have been a good call. Hey, while I'm gonna shout out somebody, but while I'm doing that, can you pull up the box score?
I already got it up.
Okay, well give me a second then. I'm gonna go ahead and shout out Game Day Tigers member Hugh Tiger, HOU Tiger. Over there in Hewdy, right? In Houston,
Yeah,
actually, Katy. That's why I'm mixing up Houston
close
and
enough.
Katy. But yeah, Katy, Texas. He has been on this Caden Durham kid ever since he signed. In fact, maybe even before he signed with LSU, he's been hyping him up. He's from over there in Texas as well. And I had some questions. They are answered. They are answered. Hugh Tiger, thumbs up, buddy.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
Good call on Caden Durham. He is the real deal.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give his
Now,
individual stats if you don't mind.
he ended up with 7 carries for 128 yards. That's 18.3 per carry, which is pretty impressive number. And
Mhm.
then he also had the 3 catches for 89 total. And obviously he got a touchdown on the long pass play, but he did score on a running play later in the game. So he did end up with two touchdowns.
Yeah, and he looked like he on the second touchdown that he scored. I know it was an offensive lineman that kind of rolled up on him from behind, and
Yeah,
but he didn't leave the game. He came back in, but then later he did leave the game, and he was kind of limping. But I've heard nothing, so I'm assuming he's good.
he, I don't know how reliable it is, but I've heard dislocated toe, possibly two dislocated toes,
That's gonna
which
hurt.
it's going to be uncomfortable, but he can play on them.
Yeah, I just wonder if that, I don't know. He
It's
played. If it happened, and when I think it did, he came
that's
back and played. So
yeah, that's one of those injuries they can basically tape them together and
yeah,
you can continue playing. Um, mm, Other athletes in other sports play with them regularly, like gymnasts, those types of people.
yeah. If they can do it, then yeah, he can
That's
play.
what I'm thinking. If you can do all of that, jumping, hopping, and flipping, you should be able to play football as well. And now it may not be comfortable, but I think he can at least play. And we got 2 weeks, so that'll help.
Let's um let's talk about you got Nussmeier's stats,
Yeah, he was 26 for 39, 409 yards with two touchdowns.
400 yards. That's
And he had
kind
the
of
rushing touchdowns.
yeah, and he had the
He also
rushing
had two rushing
touchdown that you
touchdowns.
don't expect. Say again?
He had two rushing touchdowns.
Oh, that's right. He did. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he had that one from what was it like about the three or so a little bit
Yeah.
later.
And then the one where Caden Durham pushed him in.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
all right. So I'm looking at some stats. There are times in this game where Nussmeier, and it's not just this game, it's every single game. There is some point in the game. You remember that old NBA arcade game where Sean Kemp would be, he's on fire, and you couldn't
Yeah,
miss.
yeah, yeah.
Shoot from anywhere and
NBA
it would
Jam.
go in. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
NBA
could shoot
Jam.
from anywhere and the thing would have smoke and flames on it. It would go in. Um, Garrett Nussmeier has showed that in every game at some point in time in the game. And he showed it for a
Yes.
lot of this game. But he also
Yes.
showed some boneheaded throws. It's the only thing that's keeping him, in my opinion, from being um, I mean, he is one of the best quarterbacks statistically, but one of the best quarterbacks overall in the country. But I'm looking at
Yeah.
SEC passing stats to date, QB passing stats to date. He's number one with completions. He's got
Okay.
139 completions out of 199 attempts. And so his rating is 160.6, but then you take somebody like Jackson Dart. Jackson
Yeah.
Dart's rating, and he's only got 113 out of 145. So he's got a damn, he's almost got an 80% completion percentage, dude. But his quarterback
Yeah.
rating is well up over 200. And the reason why is
Yeah.
because,
He's at 208.
yeah, 208.5. The reason why is
Yep.
because that average uh, completion of 12.4 yards when Nuss is down there around 8.3 yards. But yeah, Nuss, here's where it goes downhill to me. So Jackson Dart's leading in completion percentage. Nuss is about 6. I'm not worried about that. That's more than halfway.
Yeah, his at 69% is still a damn good
Yeah.
completion percentage.
Nuss is second in yards, but he's also got the most attempts. He's got the most completions and the most attempts. Um, Yards per pass, Nuss is actually 11th. 11th. Jackson Dart's number one.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm actually kind of shocked, but no, maybe I shouldn't be because they've made the comment that we don't really
We don't.
complete the downhill passes anymore.
Yeah, we
He,
don't try him too
he's
much.
attempted a few,
Well, we've
and
completed a
he
few.
hasn't hit them when he has tried them. A
We've
few,
completed a
yeah,
few. He had
but
that one to
he's
Kyle
also missed.
Parker in the week before, and he's hit some, but yeah, we're not. It ain't Joe and Jamar. That's for sure. He's got the
Right.
most
No, definitely
touchdowns.
not.
He's got the most touchdowns. He got 15 touchdown passes. Um, but he's got four interceptions. Four interceptions. So
Yes.
that's hurting him a little bit. So QB rating, he is
Eh,
eighth. No, yeah, eighth. Sorry, eighth.
that's in the SEC, correct? Like we're just talking conference, right?
Yes,
Not
yes,
nationally.
because some
Okay.
guy for Vanderbilt is number seven. So I don't think, yeah, and the guy from Mississippi State is number five or six or something. So yeah, must be in the SEC then.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I'm looking at it now. I just pulled it up. The guy
So
from Vandy's actually ninth.
okay, it's hard to read at my age. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Well,
think he's got that arm, and
the arm is. I know you said like the boneheaded. Really, of his two picks, only one was a terrible
it was
decision.
bad.
The one, yeah, that one was bad. But the one I'm thinking of, the one that looked the worst, if you watch it, it wasn't a bad read. It wasn't a bad decision. He just didn't get enough on that one. He had his guy, and he was coming out of the pocket, and he just kind of slung it off his back foot and just
I knew
simply
you
did
were going to say
not
it,
get
and you're
enough
right.
on it.
You're right. That was Nooch's complaint after game one, and I said, "Man, game one, Nuss didn't lose that game. The lack of a running game
No,
lost.
no, he didn't.
Defense
Right.
lost the game, whatever, but it wasn't us, and so I didn't let him go with that. But you're not wrong, and I said that then. I said you're not wrong, but he's not the problem. I think we got bigger problems, and
Right.
we did. But yeah, he does throw off his back foot too much. I'm seeing it more and more, and it's a little disconcerting. But most of the time, he gets away with it. I don't know.
Yeah, he does because he
So
has elite arm strength. But and you see it in a game like this one. I mean, it looked like he threw it right to the guy. And
yeah,
if you look, he was lined up with his receiver. That would have been on target if he would have just.
put
And
something
on that
on.
one, he was running. He was on the move, but put something on it, and that's a touchdown because there was nobody else back there. I don't remember who the receiver was going down the sideline, but he was open, and that was a touchdown. But
It.
it was a terrible throw.
Yeah, it was a bad decision, or well, bad throw. It was what it wasn't a bad decision. It was a bad throw.
Yeah.
Let's talk real quick about. Let's finish off the offense. Thought Aaron Anderson had another good
Okay.
game. Um,
Yeah.
I wish I could remember the stretch when it was, but Nuss just got on fire for a minute, and he just made some beautiful passes and looked like an NFL quarterback. To be honest with you, he looked great for a few passes. For quite a extended period of time, actually. But yeah, I had some issues with the interceptions. But yeah, Aaron Anderson had a good game. Mason Taylor had a good game. He threw to the backside of the
Yep.
backfield. That was very productive. And that's how you wind
Yep.
up with over 400 yards is you hit Caden Durham on a 81-yard pass on your first play from scrimmage. Doesn't hurt.
Right. Kyron Lacy quietly had a good game. He ended up with over 100 yards.
He hits. So you were talking earlier. We don't really take the downfield shot. We don't have Joe to Jamar like we did, but what we do have is Kyron Lacy crossing the middle of the field about 20, 22 yards downfield. That happens a lot, and they're
Yes.
pretty good at it. They're getting
And
pretty dialed in at it.
yeah, and who knows? Maybe the downfield shots will come back when Chris Hilton does.
The unicorn, dude.
Maybe we'll see how. Yeah, he, he's the Travante Valentine of this year's team. Uh, Maybe. I mean, we'll see. And obviously, I don't know what kind of football shape Chris Hilton's in, but you see him at least walking around and warming up a little bit before the game. So I think he's healthy in that sense. I don't know if we're just waiting him to get back up to game speed, and coach isn't going to tell us anything. We have no clue.
Nope.
It's maybe,
Nope.
maybe not.
He's probable. Yeah. That's all I ever hear.
Yeah.
So the offense was clicking pretty good. Started fast. Can't start any faster than LSU did. First two
Yeah.
plays went for 100 and almost 60 yards.
Yeah.
Three plays we had two touchdowns. So ridiculous. Um, the
Yep.
defense, here's what I'll say about it. And you got the box score pulled up. I don't. But here's what I will say about it. I was talking to Nootch, like I said earlier today, and this is one of the things I was talking to him about is the defense is like appears to be quietly getting better. They appear to
Yeah.
be, and it's a crazy concept, but it appears that they are being coached and are taking to the coaching.
Man, are we allowed to say that? I mean, most of the fans you see, they say we can't coach, we don't have coaches, our players are just garbage. I mean, are we allowed to be positive about the defense?
All right, so let me be,
Hell, it's our show. We can do that, right?
yeah, we can do whatever we want. But I mean, look,
Okay.
we're at Toledo Bend, just like that.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
let me clarify something. I don't want to insult any, coaches, players, anybody right now with what I'm about to say. But we do not have superstar defensive players. We don't
No,
at
I don't
any
see a
at any
superstar.
position. We don't have superstar defensive players. But what we
No.
have is young guys that are getting better every week. And so yeah, they're
Yes.
taking the coaching, the coaches are coaching them, and that's what you want to see. And it's really the best you can hope for.
Yeah, and I don't know. I can't. I'm having trouble thinking back. When's the last time we didn't have a single, just true, absolute stud on defense? And I don't know how far back do you have to go without having a single guy on the defense that you can point to and say that guy's just he's a star.
Did
And
Braden Swinson have a
we don't.
sack?
Let me see. No, he did not
I
have a
didn't think
sack.
he did. I know
And
he got up in the grill a couple of times.
yeah,
He could be the
college does
guy.
not have a hurry. Right. College doesn't have a QB hurries stat. That
Right.
doesn't exist in college. They don't track that. But if they did, Swinson would definitely have a few of those. Just, I mean, on the season in general. But last night, Saturday night
Well,
in
and we talked
particular,
about it last week. Somebody's tracking it because QB pressures, he was number one in the country. But yeah,
well,
he didn't have
yeah,
a sack,
that's
and I hope that that is not something where, like I said, that guy, that quarterback, he wasn't great, but he was pretty slippery in the pocket. He was able to, he
yeah.
had a pocket awareness to him and could run. And so he did. If he felt he was getting pressured, he would get out and run a little bit. He picked up a few first downs like that. But I hope it's not a case where I said, the only thing about Harold Perkins, you said it might even improve us. I don't know. Maybe it did because we looked really good overall as a defense Saturday night. But I hope it didn't limit Swinson because my theory was maybe Perkins, the attention on Perkins is why Swinson was having such a good year, and now they can focus on Swinson. But I don't know.
Well, I'll say this: after the night our linebackers had, they're going to get attention going forward
Yeah,
because
Wood Weeks
both
had a good
Penn
game.
and
At
Weeks
Penn,
had a really good game. Penn had a great game.
how many tackles did
Penn
he wind up with?
actually
18,
he ended up with 14.
14?
But and kind of really at the point that I said it in the game. I was like, man, he's almost having a Kevin Minter-esque type performance, and the game was completely out of hand at that point already. So it became just kind of a boring snooze fest, and no one really running any plays.
I have
So
a confession to
he
make.
didn't get to. Okay,
All right, I'm old. Okay, you know this.
I'm aware.
Um, I stayed up way past my bedtime Friday night into Saturday morning, well into Saturday morning. No alcohol was involved. I wasn't drunk or anything, but I had a commitment to some youth at our church, and I'm like, I'm gonna stick to it.
Okay,
And got to bed around 2:30. The next morning, I had a commitment to some men at our church where I was gonna cook them breakfast. I'm gonna show you that breakfast here in a minute. It's freaking fantastic. But I woke up at 6:20 and cooked them breakfast. And I was exhausted. I cannot take naps during the day. I can't do it. I don't do it. And I fell asleep in the second half. That's my that's my you know who does that every game? Doxy.
Who?
Doxy.
Really?
Yes. Not every game, but she does it a lot. But
I'm
I
a, I'm a
I
just
can't give her any grief about it because I did it Saturday night. I fell asleep.
I realize that you are significantly older than I am, but I mean I stay awake till 2 a.m. during the week, and I'm at work for 6:30 the next morning, three, four, five times a week without a problem.
That's,
Sometimes with alcohol involved.
let me show
I
you
mean,
something
you're not
here.
going to get any sympathy from me here.
I'm not asking for sympathy. Let me show you
Okay.
something here. Let's see here what we have here.
Yeah. Well, while you were sleeping, I brought up the type of game that Penn was having, and then just after that, it got really quiet in the game, and he didn't get much after that.
Can you see my screen?
I do, I do. What is the is that just like the yellow and orange bell peppers that you have chopped up,
Yes,
kind of in
yes,
between
that's
the rice and the meat?
yeah, I got green and yellow bell pepper here. Got the
Okay,
little tomatoes. I got some sausage, breakfast sausage and bacon. This is bacon here. And lots of onions were involved. And then of course the rice. And now I'm going to show you the finished product is yeah, breakfast fried rice. Phenomenal.
looks good.
Very good.
I'd try it.
Yeah, you would love it. And if you see over on the far upper right, there's some fried eggs on the grill,
Okay,
on the griddle.
not bad.
And so every time somebody would come and get a scoop, I'd slap a fried egg on top of it for them. Bam, there you go. It's good stuff.
Nice,
All right,
nice.
and we're back.
Yeah, we're back. I don't have any good food picks, not on my computer at least.
No, I just
I
did it
did
for this
do a
podcast.
I did one hell of a chicken stew the other night. Came out freaking great. It was a nice, really dark, thick roux. I mean, I was impressed with myself.
Do we have two
I think I'll
buys?
be cooking Saturday night. Yes, we do. We have another bye before the Alabama game.
We should do a cooking episode.
We could do that.
We could do that. Anyway, all right. So defense, honestly, all three levels played well.
Hmm.
Defensive line, we didn't have the sacks, but there was we didn't have any real breakdowns. And that's what you like
No,
to see.
really. Yeah. Well, we ended up with 3 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss.
Okay, I didn't even know we had
So
three.
we
That
did
must have happened after I fell asleep. Sorry.
probably. And I
Sorry.
mean, look, their quarterback, he had a high completion percentage, but
Dink and
he
dunk.
had less than 200 yards. Yeah, he had less than 200 yards, and his QBR was around 60. So he did not have a very good game. We held him to only 33 yards rushing. So we contained him, and really, they got their one touchdown on one long play where Major Burns was laying face first on the turf for some reason while his guy was prancing into the end zone. Outside of that one play, we really and shit. You know what? If we're gonna bring up the long play, we need to bring up what about that fourth down stop? Did you see that, or did you asleep? Were you asleep for it?
I think I remember it. Just talk
Okay,
about it.
that was it
Don't put me
was
on the spot, man.
right at oh I got to right on the goal line, and you know what? I'll give Major Burns credit because he
Yep,
did
Major
actually
Burns.
hold
That's
the
what I was
guy
about to
up.
say. Major Burns made the play.
He
That was
well,
good.
I he allowed the play to happen. He made contact first, held him up, and then Whit Weeks introduced him
Weeds
to his
finished him
maker.
off. Yes. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Guy's helmet came flying off and everything. It
Hmm.
was, it was, it was one of those. Had this been against a big name opponent and you get a hit like that on fourth down, this would be one of those stops that would be talked about for a long time.
Yep.
And who knows? That could be the type of turning point that this defense needed. We weren't just better at each level. I really like the personality and attitude that the defense seemed to have that has been missing late.
Yeah. You said that
And
many times.
they
We
had
don't we
that.
don't play we don't have a nasty edge to us or
Yeah, and we played like we had an edge, and after making plays, we let them know we made plays. Whereas typically we have guys like Major Burns letting you know, "Ha, I tackled you." I mean, we're 48 yards downfield,
yeah.
but I tackled you. Whereas as Weeks and Swinson and those guys were all, they let you know that they just made a play on you, and it was an actual play worthy of you being informed of it. So hopefully this is a turning point, and we'll see improvement more and more as we go on. We're going to need it because that's it. Cupcakes are over. It's SEC football from here on out. Calendar flip to October. I've said it before. It's October football.
Let's talk
Games matter
about
now.
that. I thought about that today. Um, I thought about that today. We don't have a whole lot of time left. So
Right.
that you've said that we've said that on this podcast a lot that the calendar flips October and things start really happening. But we had some good games Saturday. We had some good games, and
Yes, we did.
Ole Miss and Kentucky. That's our opponent this coming week. Uh, next week. Sorry, we have a bye
Next
this week.
weekend.
We're going fishing.
Yeah.
But Alabama
Yes.
and Georgia, huge game, huge game.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get too deep into Alabama, Georgia. Basically, Alabama looked like they were just going to blow them completely out, and then next thing you know, somebody said, "Hey, Georgia just took the lead." I'm like, "What?" I thought it was a joke. And
Yeah.
then within a minute,
No.
Alabama just took the lead back. Did you see that play?
Yeah, that was me. I watched. I literally I turned it on. Um, Georgia had just gotten the ball, or I don't know if it was a kickoff or a punt, but they were offense was coming out onto the field, and Herb Street or whoever was even made the comment, "There's plenty of time. You have all three timeouts. You don't need to panic here." And Georgia scores on the very first play of that drive. Scores, takes the lead. It was a 1 point lead. They went for two and didn't get it. So Herb Street says, "Well, okay, it's the exact same sentence, but the other way around now.
Mhm.
Alabama has the ball, 2 minutes to go, all three timeouts. No need to panic. You have all the time in the world. This is a lot." And bam, one play from scrimmage, another long pass, touchdown. It's like, Jesus, what the hell is going on
But
here?
the
And
play, I mean,
yeah,
that kid is
yeah, the one
scary.
that kid,
That kid's scary.
he's
17 years
yeah,
old.
and he actually graduated as a junior in high school, so he's actually supposed to be a senior right now
Yeah,
in high
that's
school.
scary, man.
Not a freshman
Whew.
making the game-winning play on the biggest game of the weekend.
Yeah, that's Justin Jefferson against Clemson, but maybe even better, to be honest. I hate to say that, but maybe even a better play
It
because
was.
he kept his
It
feet.
was a Yeah, he did, and I mean,
Ridiculous.
shit, the ball was thrown behind him. The defender actually had a better play on the ball than he did, but he caught it, kept his feet, and then made the guy miss.
Just made him silly, made him look silly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's talk
absolutely.
about so of course in that case then so Texas beats Mississippi State, but because Georgia or because Alabama almost blew a huge lead against Georgia, they go from number four to number one. I have some Texas friends, and I said, "Welcome to the
Hmm.
SEC." That's how this works.
Yeah.
Alabama runs the SEC,
Yes.
not you guys, and now you know. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Correct.
it doesn't matter. We've said this before. Ranking shouldn't even come out till at least mid-October. LSU is playing
Yeah.
Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is going to come in. I'm glad we have a bye because we were very concerned about Ole Miss with the offense and our defense. Our defense is looking better, and their offense didn't look that good once they played somebody.
No, they didn't.
Their
And
defense
look,
looks
Kentucky
good.
shut them down, they, which is really weird because
I
they
know,
actually don't normally play well on defense. But
right?
man, look, I'm wondering what to think about Kentucky because Kentucky got just manhandled by South Carolina,
Yep.
but then they should have beaten
They should
Georgia
have
and
beaten
didn't.
Georgia.
And now they just did beat Ole Miss.
No.
So I'm kind of glad Kentucky's not on our schedule this
Yeah,
year
that's
because that's
two
gonna be the
two top
team
10
that
teams.
That's the type of team that someone like Arkansas used to be. Whereas one week you're like, man, they might be pretty good. They're gonna beat some people, and then another week they're like, yeah, okay, well, never mind. That's kind of who they seem to be this year for some reason.
All right, so we got about a minute left here. So we're not going to really
Yeah.
preview the LSU Ole Miss game because we got another week to do that. But we
Yes.
did want to talk about, you know, they need to buy, we need to buy. We're both going to get it,
Yes.
and we like some things we're seeing from LSU that maybe I wasn't expecting. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah. I am disappointed that Mason Taylor screwed up his stat line.
Oh yeah, he
He
had
he had the
99 catches
most.
for 999 yards, and he screwed it up.
I would have been okay if he'd have had one catch for 1 yard, just to end up at 100 and a
100 catches
thousand.
for a
But
thousand
no,
yards. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but no, he had to go and get some kind of weird, crazy number like 3 catches for 43 yards. Not a stat line,
all
just
screwed up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's messed
Well,
up.
hey, we're not doing a chat this week, but y'all come join us at GameDayTigers.com. Nooch and I are taking a week off. We're going fishing. Go
Yes,
Tigers.
sir. Go Tigers.